Hello. Welcome to the final outing in our talk series on trauma's everyday impact. This session's presenter is Ilan Stefani, and she will be speaking about the next step of healing in trauma, how to go from good enough to great. My name is Shanti, and I'm here to serve up some hospitality and tech one last time before this cafe closes its doors. So if you have any support needs with using Zoom, don't hesitate to reach out to me via private message. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started. First, a very special thanks to those who have the All Access Pass and are here live for contributing to our sustainability and giving us the joy of having humans to interact with. Please turn your cameras on if possible, no matter what you're doing, as it provides useful feedback for us. Second, if you're watching a replay, you can purchase an All Access Pass for $19 to get all the recordings. The registration link for Trauma's Everyday Impact is in the chat. I'll drop all those links in for you again as well. And for those who have experienced benefits from this week's summit and are interested to learn more about the topics we have covered, we offer the Trauma is Your Superpower course with various available packages to fit your needs. Whether you're an ordinary person like myself who's hoping to make some changes to your daily life, or a coach, facilitator, and therapist hoping to apply this to the work you do with your clients. There are also tutor-led group sessions to help you integrate the knowledge and skills in community, which I find is the best way to learn. Embodiment Unlimited has intentionally made this resource cheaper than its market value because we want to make this affordable and accessible for as wide an audience as feasible. I will give you a little tour of the site and show you the trailer for the course when we wrap this session. But if you're curious now, you can check out the link in the chat for more details. And finally, those who have been coming regularly this week, you know I say this over and over again, but it bears repeating because it's so very, very important. You always want to do a self-safety check-in before attending one of these sessions or watching the replay because of the subject matter. Question that you really like to ask yourself right now would be, are you resourced? If you aren't well enough to drive a car or do something that requires a lot of coordination, like operate heavy machinery, then maybe you wouldn't want to watch this. Excuse me. And a wiser choice may be to instead go do an act of self-care, whatever feels good to you right now, that will be kinder to yourself. The replays will still be available for a few days. And another question to ask yourself is, are you better served by one-to-one therapy? So this platform is for education, not therapy, and it's not designed for people who are currently going through the worst of their trauma. Many of our teachers have been there, so no judgment. But you'll need to be robust for these sessions. So exercise some prudence on whether this is the right time in your journey for engaging with an in-depth discussion about trauma without the guidance of a clinical professional. It's okay to need help. And no matter who you are and where you're at with trauma, definitely don't binge. It's not necessary. I've put the link for the replays in the chat for those who have the All Access Pass. If you tense up, we get agitated or space out, that's a signal that maybe you should breathe and make a shift. You can always watch later. We recommend gentle movement, good company with people or pets that you trust, and immersion in nature both during and after the session to help resource yourself. Having said all that, I'd like to introduce this session. Our presenter is trauma educator Ilan Stefani, and she will be speaking about a fitting close to this talk series, I think, because she's going to be talking about the next step of healing trauma. How to go from just good enough, just okay, just getting through it, to really feeling great about it, really doing great. And she's a best-selling author and researcher in the fields of sexuality, spirituality, collective trauma healing, and embodiment. Having been a sex worker in the past, Ilan has first-hand experience in coming back from difficult places and turning tough stuff into fuel for truly living. Now, because this is a watch party and I don't want to obstruct your view with my cursor moving all around all over the shared screen, I am logged on to a second device, which you can see as Shanti 2 under the Participants tab. And I'll be doing this in order to track the streaming quality and to monitor the chat. So please feel free to give me your feedback on your viewing experience, and I'll be happy to adjust the audio and video as necessary. All right, that's enough of me. It's time for our very last theater experience. It's watch party time. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show, and bring out something really warm to drink for yourself and maybe some popcorn or something, yeah? All right, I'll see you on the other side.
Okay, yay. Thank you so much for showing up here. I'm thrilled about this topic of next step of healing, from good enough to great. Because I remember those, I would have even said, dark times when I tried to be at least good enough in order to exist. So I think this is something so common. It's not about me sharing about my trauma stuff or my trauma healing journey or whatever. It's more us exploring something that might happen to all of us on the way, on the path. There is a kind of idea, one day I will be good enough. And of course, in the beginning, we try to have the best A levels, we try to be the best at university or the best in sports or the best lover or whatever. And then we realize, okay, this kind of I am actually good enough will result from my trauma healing. So then we are heading towards trauma healing in order to be good enough. And this good enoughness in itself is something that I'm so curious about, or like so thrilled about sharing with you some kind of insights or even revelations that I had on my way, because I was deeply stuck in self-hatred, not good enough at all in my existence. And then I think nowadays really overcame this kind of trap, being stuck in I want to be good enough. So let's cover something around that. And of course, as always, you are so welcome to just listen and maybe check or test, what am I suggesting here? It's not that I'm sharing a truth or something, but something that I suggest for you to test, because it might be a kind of easier path for all of us if we let go of some kind of narratives in the background. So I think, let me put it into a kind of tough language. The idea that you will ever be good enough, resulting from trauma healing, resulting from training, resulting from anything or nothing or just accident. The idea that you will ever be good enough for anything in itself is a trauma symptom. In itself, your hope there is any way, a spiritual way, a healing way, a methodological way, an ideological way, a religious way, a whatever way of becoming good enough in itself is a symptom of hidden trauma. So in other words, what I'm suggesting here is us sacrificing the whole idea of life being about good enoughness at all. It's like you will never be good enough, just because good enough is not a breathing thing. Good enough is just a translation coming from your maybe school trauma where you haven't been good enough, or I have not been good enough at school. So then after school trauma, I head over to the next project in order to be good enough, at least there. And then this didn't work, and this didn't work, and this didn't work. And coming from so many experiences, it's almost like let's exhale the whole hope for good enoughness at all. Let's exhale it on the whole level. And I'm mentioning that here, and I'm emphasizing that to you, because I do know that in the background of many, many therapeutic circles, many kind of talking therapies, etc., there is this narrative in the background. It's still something that we have on our shoulders. I have to work on my childhood stuff. I have to work on my triggers, that I'm good enough in order to manage a thriving relationship. And if I do not get that done, there is no hope for me being in a thriving or peaceful or nourishing relationship. So there is always this, my life is postponed to tomorrow. My life will start when I have the ticket, the qualification, the certificate, and the certificate is the one and only thing, and that is I am good enough. Here's the thing why I do not consider this good enoughness to be realistic, to be existent in realistic terms. It's a mindfuck. It's not a thing that is designed by existence. It's a thing that is designed as one trauma symptom of many in your or my system. I think when we are stuck in hidden trauma, we are managing our life, our everyday routines, with a subconscious level of existential threat. There is something that makes us feel exhausted and trapped in a constant state of survival. All of us on the collective level, due to transgenerational trauma and maybe individual hidden trauma as well, all of us are running our lives, economics, politics, education, everything also based on the script of survival. We are studying nature based on the script of survival. Who is projecting that onto nature? It's us. We are seeing life through the filter, through the lenses of survival. The moment that you have a kind of breakthrough, a kind of awakening moment coming from this, whoa, I have to make stuff work. I have to get that done. I have to work on my stuff. I have to make my finances, etc., etc. The moment there is an awakening, like, oh, life is about, wow, it's about something else. And even traumatizing moments might open your eyes for this more realistic reality than survival and everyday struggle in business. Even maybe a super painful birth for your child. Maybe even witnessing the death of your father, being with him in his last breath, whatever that is, something like that can tear away the curtain and can reopen you in your awareness around life is not about survival. We will be dying anyway. So there is something of an outburst of, oh my God, this is not about survival. And the moment that the matrix of survival stops, the moment of enoughness, good enoughness, confident enough, pretty enough, smart enough, the whole enoughness dies as well. It's almost something that I ask you to test by applying it to those awakening moments of dance, of ecstasy, of maybe deep breakdown into tears. And then after that, suddenly in heart-opening wave of gratitude, test it in those rare and more than super precious moments of life catching you, tearing away the curtain, showing you what reality is about. And in those moments, it's like there is no thing like good enoughness. And if it would be there, it wouldn't be juicy enough for us to go for it. Don't fix yourself. To some extent, yes, trauma healing is a very, very realistic thing. It's something that your nervous system is designed for better than for anything else in your life. So trauma healing is a thing. You're an expert in trauma healing if you feel like that or not, no matter what. But your trauma healing is not here in order to work for you, in order to make you happier, in a way of fixing you or repairing you. It's like trauma healing is just trauma healing. It's not fixing you. It's not fulfilling your hope. It's not starting your life. Your life is happening right now. My life is happening right now. And that's a challenging thing, because in this moment, we might be absorbed by some kind of outer circumstances that prepare us for future, by adding a little bit to my trauma education and a little bit to my trauma knowledge, so that tomorrow, next year, I will be ready. So what is my suggestion around our topic of next step of healing from good enoughness to great? My idea is, let's go to the title for this session and let's destroy the title. There is no next step. There is no, we enter the space of good enoughness because we did everything right, and then we do the next step, level 2 all together, and that is now we are about to head onto the dimensions of greatness. Start with greatness right now. Like, start with greatness. And what is starting with greatness? It's basically, sorry to say, you and me digesting that we are great in this very second. We have always been great. So it's not even like, okay, so I do not have 2 challenges, becoming good enough and becoming great, okay? We have only 1 challenge, it's becoming great. Okay, it's not even becoming something, it's about realizing that I am. Okay, I'm knocked out. That is how trauma healing works. It's like, it's a knockout. It's a knockout for our metrics around what do I have to do? What we have to do is unlearning that it is about becoming anything that you wouldn't be already. How to unlearn? How to unlearn the illusion that's so seemingly realistic and real and well-proven of ungreatness. How to unlearn the illusion of ungreatness. Even though it's an illusion, even though it's a mindfuck, it's something that defines the vibe of your energy. It's something that has an impact on your day-to-day energy level more than on anything else. So I would never say a belief system is a belief system. It's not a word. It's something that runs down to your very veins, bones, marrow of your bones. How do we unlearn the illusion of ungreatness? The best thing to do that is jumping onto a situation where your illusion of ungreatness is triggered. What could that be? When is there a situation where your illusion of ungreatness is triggered? One thing is, you do not make it to an appointment and somebody relied on you and you disappointed her or him. So you are kind of unreliable. Maybe not a good friend. You are maybe not a good parent, because sometimes you are just exhausted and yelling at your children, even though you have been yelled at as a little child. And so you try so hard around not doing that with your own children, but really allowing them to feel held and loved and welcomed by you anytime, day and night. And sometimes you are just completely exhausted and yelling at them, even though, and it breaks your heart and you keep doing that. So maybe something like that. I think all of that, when it comes to self-blame, when it comes to self-critics, when it comes to the inner critics, your illusion of ungreatness is triggered. The best way of stepping out of this illusion is jumping onto those situations. I'm saying that because normally, like I would say, okay, a little bit of makeup. Now I've write a love letter to myself as my very best friend, as my higher self. And then I'm holding there my rose love letter, looking into the mirror, being so pretty because I'm high on makeup, and I'm reading my love letter from my soul voice to myself. And then I dearly hope that Ilan learns loving herself, that Ilan learns seeing that she is a walking and breathing goddess. No, what? It doesn't work. I tried. I tried privately with my private mirror and my private makeup, which isn't so professional, I admit it. But I also tried in professional tantric seminars and big rituals and Om and Shanti Shanti and opening my heart chakra and being unconditionally loved by whomever, it just doesn't work. It's something like, it's a theater, I'm not great. So this is me asking all of us to doing a very super practical sequence that you can do whenever you are triggered in your illusion of ungreatness. Whenever you blame yourself, whenever you feel guilty, whenever you feel shame for something, whenever you feel, oh, I am wrong, oh, I did something wrong, oh my God, I fucked it up more than anybody else, you can do that. It's a preview to the online course that I've put together, Moving Beyond Trauma. And I'm super, super curious how this lands in your nervous system. And of course, it's a very simple technique that deeply speaks to your instincts that are just waiting for showing up for you and for showing you that you are great and you have always been great, and me as well. Spooky topic. So if you want to follow my words into this practical sequence, otherwise you can just listen. If you want to follow, I ask you to stand up and maybe even turning away from the screen, just taking a break from the screen. Exhaling a few times, maybe with a sigh, maybe with some voice. Looking a little bit weird, washing down the mask of small talk, of everyday routine, of something like your habits. Okay. And now what I will be guiding you through, first of all, it's a super important yet super simple thing. I call it whole body shaking. We go into depth with that in the Moving Beyond Trauma. And here we are doing something like a small teaser and appetizer. So stand with your feet hip distant apart, closing your eyes, unblocking your knees. Your knees are soft. Yes, energy flowing through your knees. Great. Opening your mouth, breathing through your mouth. Exhaling, inhaling. Relaxing your closed eyes. Now I ask you to initiate the whole body shaking with 4 joints. 2 knee joints. Start shaking. It's the soft bouncing in your knee joints. Just bounce it, standing there and bouncing a little bit in your knees. Perfect. And in the joints of your hands. So 4 joints of your body are shaking right now. Your knees and your hands. Shake them. Great. Stay with your eyes closed. Stay with your breath flowing in and out through your mouth. Ooh. Inhaling, exhaling, maybe exhaling with a sigh. Ooh. And now you might notice that when you shake your knees and you shake your hands, it's a matter of time until your whole body starts shaking. So start shaking with your whole body. The good news are this whole body shaking is not a technique. It's not something that I invented for sure. It's something that your nervous system has studied for a course of a few billions of years. So shaking is the trauma healing language of your nervous system. The more you are into whole body shaking, the easier it is for your nervous system to recover from trauma, to recover from the illusion of life would be about survival, life would be about becoming good enough, or anything like that. It's like becoming good enough, it's just not sexy enough. Woo! Breathing, shaking in your whole body. Now I ask you to even shake your head from one side to the other, just because there is so much belief system stuff in the head brain. Shake the head brain. Shake your head. Eyes closed, breathing. Shake in a playful way. There is no right way to shake. There is no wrong way to shake. Every way of shaking is healing and weird. Every way of shaking looks a bit silly. There is no way of shaking good enough, of shaking well enough. There is nothing like that existent in this universe. So we can relax. Yay, shake a bit more. Whole body shaking. What is not shaking in this moment in your body? Do a body scan. What is not shaking? Sometimes, for example, my pelvis is a bit stiff. So then I'm like, oh, wow, my pelvis isn't shaking so much. And then I'm shaking that a little bit more. Maybe I'm doing a few steps with my feet, just in order to move my feet as well. I'm shaking the back side of my shoulders, sighing out, shaking out all those layers of stress that have been accumulated there. Relax your face, even your throat, your vocal cords. Great. So 30 seconds more of whole body shaking. This is a shaking quickie. You can do that longer. But for this journey, it's all about just diving into the whole body shaking as an experience. And after those 30 seconds, I ask you to stay with your eyes closed and keep following my words, because that is when our journey will go on. So I will guide you into the next phase from there. Shake a few more moments. You are doing great. Shake your legs. Shake your thoughts. Don't take this ever too serious. Shake your spine. Wow, great. Yay, you are doing great. Perfect. Woo. Okay. And then you can slow down the shaking. Stay with your eyes closed whenever anything feels unsafe, uncomfortable. Just open your eyes. It's so easy. I'm fully here. If you are into another sequence, stay with your eyes closed. Sense your body right now. Sense your felt sense, your sensations. You are doing great. Yes, perfect. And now I want you to remember a situation, maybe even today, when your illusion of ungreatness was triggered. Is there anything today that you didn't do that well, where you didn't fulfill your own expectations? When somebody else blamed you for something and you became very, very insecure? What is something that you didn't do that well? Connect to that. Great. And I ask you to sense what that does in your nervous system and in your energy level. How do you breathe when you are believing that you are not great and not even good enough? Believe in that. Take it serious. This is about you having to repair and improve yourself. Yes, perfect. What's your posture? Great. What is happening in your mood and in your face? You are doing great. Just hold on to that for a moment and feel how you create the illusion of ungreatness with your body. That is super important. The illusion of ungreatness is not something in your mind. It's something that you create right now with your body. What we are doing is unlearning to create that. And we are doing that all together. Follow my words. And now inhale, exhale, inhale, open your mouth, and inhale again with open mouth. Exhale with a sound. Inhale, lift your shoulders. Exhale, drop your shoulders and start shaking in your arms. Inhale, lift your shoulders again. Exhale, drop your shoulders, shake your arms and your legs. Shake your arms and your legs. Yes. And now shake your whole body. This is unlearning. Back to whole body shaking. There is no ungreatness on earth. Not for you, not for a bug, not not for a dolphin, not for a tree. There is no such thing like ungreatness. Unlearn, unlearn, shake your whole body. You are doing great. You can open your eyes when anything becomes too intense, easy peasy. Shake your head brain, shake your poor mind that was believing so firmly into you are not good enough. Shake, shake, shake. Yay, you are doing great. Perfect. Go for it. Go for it. Whoa, move your feet. You are doing great. Yes, enjoy. Reclaim the energy. No, you are not good enough. I am not good enough. I'm pretty bad in this moment. Woo, yay. Stop this false respect from words. Just throw yourself into the energy. You are doing great. Yes, yes, yes. What you sense right now is the pulse of greatness. That's the pulse of reality. Yes, sense that. Shake your legs, shake your arms, shake your head from one side to the other. Woohoo! Shake. Open your voice. Regain the energy. The higher your energy, the more your energy is vibrating in your whole body, the more you are immune for this illusion of your own ungreatness. And I ask you to do that as a daily prayer. And maybe you're curious about more stuff like that in the Moving Beyond Trauma adventure that we are heading on to in this moment. Thank you so much for your openness, for your trust. And most of all, thank you for trusting your own nervous system. I think the most trustworthy place on earth is your holy, sacred, super smart nervous system. Yay! Thank you. Woo! Yay! Greatness. Oh. Mm. Mm. So yay, thank you so much for jumping with me into the shaking. This was really a shaking quickie. So I think all three phases being a little bit longer might be even more fun or greater than great. However, I think for the last phase that we had where we had the super short energetic whole body shaking, if you want to head over to your favorite playlist, that I think would be awesome for your nervous system, that you are just in this mood of, okay, this is about juice. This is about love for life. This is about joy. And if you are onto more of the stuff, of course, it's just, I think your nervous system is so smart when it comes to all of that stuff. So test all those embodiment tools that we are providing here for you and everything else. And where you feel energized and where you feel like, okay, now I'm touching reality. I think that's a track. So test everything, ask your nervous system, and it will guide you the way.
What a sweet, sweet way to wrap up a wonderful week of wonderful talks. Yeah, I think just to iterate what Ilan was saying, that it was just so much gratitude for your openness and trust, and especially for the trustworthy nervous system that you have. So let's give some gratitude to our nervous systems right now, huh? For putting us through all the stuff that they do, and for having this inner wisdom that's always there, that you can always come back through. And I really like the suggestion that Ilana gave. So let's make that a homework for ourselves. Like, I want you to pull up your favorite playlist of music and star it and make a date for yourself with your favorite music playlist, so that you can have like a longer shake session sometime after this. Yeah. So before we close, For those who haven't seen it yet, I'm going to show you a little bit of a trailer for the Trauma is Your Superpower course, which you can look into if this week of talks has been something that's been beneficial to you. Just going to pull it up. Give me 1 second here.
What works when it comes to healing trauma?
What really works for me when it comes to dealing with my own stuff?
I thought there'd be an obvious answer. I thought it would be like, okay, if you have this infection, you take antibiotics.
But it's about the energy that is still present from our past, in our nervous system, in our bodies right now.
If trauma is bio, psycho, social, relational, spiritual, societal, your healing will probably involve those things. The main thing is actually practice rather than theory. You can't sort of theory your way out of it.
Because trauma is not something that goes away.
Everybody has to deal with their trauma in their own unique way.
An online course like this, it's not at all about repairing you. Quite the opposite. Can you deal with your past that it enriches your life today?
What is this idea of superpowers? We can think of trauma patterns as strategies for establishing safety.
Trauma is an event that changes you fundamentally.
Patterns are created to cope with this.
But it doesn't have to be negative all the time.
The superpower is where you keep the adaptation, but you lose the problems associated with it.
All of this journey, all of these chapters, trauma is a superpower. This course is about
tools to create a richer life for yourself.
Going beyond surviving trauma and actually thriving.
In order to get closer to what I really want in life. Can I meet my past in this powerful presence?
Not have to suffer as much as they are. You do not have to.
I invite you to go into this journey. Let me be your fellow traveler with all of us together.
I think this will help.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear just some of your favorite frames from this session and also earlier in the week. I'd love to just to see kind of how you all are feeling as we come to an end, as we close things up. We often in the culture that we're in, we're taught how to begin things, but we're not really taught so much about how to honor endings. And so I'd love to find a way to honor this ending with some gratitude and with some love and with some reflection. So feel free to throw into the chat anything that's sort of coming up for you as we bring this to a close. And as you do so, I'll just do a couple housekeeping things here. I'll throw some links for you into the chat as always. So you just saw the Trauma is a Superpower trailer for the course, if that's something that would interest you. So that's the second link in the chat. The first link in the chat is for those who know folks that would still might want to register for this talk series. I know it's over now, but the replays are still available for the next couple of days. So if they'd like to, they can sign up there. And there's a link to the replays for those who have the all access class for all of the replays. So that's right there as well. And we'd love for you to reach out to us at support@embodimentunlimited.com. Agatha will be there answering any questions, comments, concerns that you have, and any insight or feedback that you'd like to give as well about this. We really care about how this experience was like for you, and we want our future offerings to really be something that you can get some value out of and really you can use in a practical way to impact your life for the positive. So yes, please do reach out to us. And finally, just a little bit of fun and news that I'd like to share is that we're doing a giveaway. So if for those who have the All Access Pass, you can post your favorite session in the Trauma Facebook group. And if you tag Mark and Patricia and have, you'll have a chance to win a set of the recordings this week. The winner will be chosen and announced in the group on Wednesday. And each session post that tags Mark and Patricia will be, with a good reason to watch it, counts as one entry. So that's something to take with you. And lastly, because this is the last session, first I just want to share some of the things that some of you have said in the chat. I think if there's something really lovely about bringing voice to them and saying them out loud. So I've got so many tools and skills, huge blessings, love the humor and trauma, love the yin and yang energies from each of the teachers. Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I love that piece about like the yin and yang and this idea of bringing humor into it. Like it doesn't have to be, always have to be this deadly, serious, grave thing. That humor can be a tool in dealing with trauma. And then I see comment here about acceptance of self and learning. Trauma is part of you, but does not define you. Yeah, I love that too. That's like a really fundamental aspect of working with trauma. I think that you are not your trauma. Yeah. And then I have here from Australia, Sydney, thank you to all the presenters, very insightful and some useful tools learned throughout the week. And yeah, oh yeah, I'm so glad someone's already made a practical change in their life. There was an earlier session in which we were talking about how we just don't take care of ourselves sometimes, and we don't listen to our needs when our body is telling us that we have a need, and one of them is to hydrate ourselves. And many of those, many of those on the front lines, especially, are not able to hydrate themselves or use the bathroom on a regular basis. But you have someone here who's just been listening to her body, it looks like, and she's on her 3rd water bottle. So that's a win. Hurrah, congrats. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. So yeah, it's just really lovely hearing all the things you all have to say. And I want to say my own goodbye, which is thank you so much for being with us, not just for this session, but all week long. As a host, it has been a privilege to share the space and build community with you as we learned about trauma together. And I send oodles of well wishes and healing vibes your way as you do the hard, slow, and often messy work of taking any trauma that has impacted you and turn it into your superpower so that you can transform the way you show up in everyday life. It's not something that's just for like this week. It's something that, takes days and weeks and years. So I know that this is something that will have reverberations long down the line. Take care as always. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to those around you. Thank you so much. Much love. Goodbye for now, and really hope to cross paths again.